The cry for help. The night sky of Zeora glowed with 2 silver moons, but for Lyra, an alien girl with bright violet eyes, the world felt dark and heavy. Her beloved pet, a creature with soft golden fur and crystal-like wings, lay weak on the ground, breathing shallowly. The gentle rise and fall of its chest slowed more with every passing minute, and Lyra's heart raced in terror. "Stay with me, Solon," she whispered. Stroking the creature's fragile head, Solon gave a faint cry, its once powerful wings twitching helplessly. Tears filled Lyra's eyes as panic wrapped around her chest like chains. The healers of her people had already tried everything. They had placed glowing stones on Solon's body, whispered ancient chants, and mixed strange alien herbs. But nothing worked. Each failed attempt only deepened Lyra's fear. Now the healers stood aside, their expressions grim, refusing to meet her desperate gaze. "It is beyond our medicine," the eldest healer said softly. "Your pet is fading, child. Nothing more can be done." "No," Lyra snapped, her voice breaking, her hands clenched into fists as she refused to accept the truth. "There must be a way. There must be someone who can help." The other aliens shifted uncomfortably, unwilling to speak the forbidden thought. Only a few whispered it under their breath, afraid of how foolish it sounded. But Lyra heard it. "Humans," she turned sharply, her eyes flashing. "What did you say?" One of the younger healers lowered his head, ashamed. "They say the humans have strange knowledge of animals, knowledge unlike ours, perhaps. One of them could help." The crowd stirred, voices rising in disbelief. "Humans? The fragile ones? They cannot even survive in this world without machines. What? Can a human do that we cannot?" But Lyra felt a spark of hope in her chest. Her people saw humans as weak outsiders, creatures too soft to endure the wilds of Zeora. But Lyra had seen something different. She had seen how humans never gave up, even when all seemed lost. "I will find one," she declared, her voice firm. The elders gasped, some even laughing at her foolishness. To trust a human with the life of a sacred creature? One sneered. "It is madness. Madness or not," Lyra said, lifting Solon gently into her arms. Her tears shimmered in the moonlight, her heart pounding with both fear and determination. "I will not let him die without trying." With that, she ran from the healer's hall, her feet pounding against the glowing crystal streets. The alien city loomed around her, tall towers of shining glass and floating bridges connecting them, yet the beauty of her world felt hollow now. Her only thought was saving Solon. As she hurried through the city, whispers followed her. "Look, the girl carries her dying beast. She runs to the humans. How desperate she must be. Her sorrow makes her blind." But Lyra didn't care. Her arms ached from carrying Solon, but she refused to stop. Every shallow breath the creature took was a knife twisting deeper into her chest. Finally, she reached the edge of the human district, a place her people rarely visited, for they thought humans too strange, too fragile. The streets here were smaller, filled with lights and machines buzzing quietly, and then, among the shadows, she saw him, a human, tall and lean, with tired but sharp eyes, standing outside a small building marked with a symbol of animals. His hands were stained with work, his clothes plain and simple, but in his presence there was something steady, something calm. Lyra's knees nearly gave way as she cried out, "Please help me. My pet is dying." The human turned quickly, surprise flashing in his eyes. He saw the fragile golden creature in her arms, saw her desperation, her tears, and instead of stepping back, instead of refusing, he stepped forward. "Bring it inside," he said firmly, his voice calm but commanding. Lyra's breath caught, hope and fear mixing within her. Could this fragile human truly save Solon when all her people had failed? She followed him inside, her heart pounding like a drum. The human's small clinic smelled strange like medicine and iron. Glowing screens lit up the walls, filled with shapes she did not understand. The man placed Solon gently on a table, his hands moving quickly, checking the creature's weak pulse, its shallow breathing. His brow furrowed as if he already recognized something. "I've seen this before," he muttered, almost to himself. Lyra clutched her hands together, trembling. For the first time in endless hours, she felt a flicker of hope. The alien girl's beloved pet was dying, but maybe, just maybe this human could save it. And so the true story began. The human arrival, the clinic door shut behind Lyra with a soft hiss, sealing her and her beloved pet inside this strange human place. Her arms trembled as she laid Sullen carefully on the metal table, its golden fur now dull and its breath so faint they were almost invisible. The room was small, filled with sharp tools, glowing screens, and strange bottles of liquid. It felt nothing like the healing halls of her people, where light and crystals were used. This place felt colder, sharper, but also more precise. The human stood beside the table, his eyes narrowing as he studied the dying creature. His face was calm, but his movements were quick, his hands steady. "Tell me," he asked without looking up, his voice firm. "How long has it been?" "Like this?" Lyra's voice cracked as she answered. "Hours. Maybe more." The healer said nothing could be done. Her eyes searched his face, desperate to find even the smallest sign of hope. "You can save him, can't you?" The human finally looked at her, his gaze sharp but not unkind. "I don't make promises," he said quietly, "but I will try." Those words, simple yet strong, struck her heart like a spark of light in the darkness. No healer of her people had spoken them. They had given up before even trying. But this human, he refused to surrender. Lyra's hope was interrupted by the sudden sound of heavy footsteps outside. The door opened with a hiss, and 3 alien guards stepped in, tall and armored, their glowing spears humming with energy. Their leader glared at the human, his voice dripping with disdain. "So it is true. The girl has brought her sacred beast to a fragile outsider." Lyra's heart skipped. She moved quickly, placing herself between the guards and the table. "Stay back," she cried. "He's the only one who can help." The guard sneered, his sharp teeth flashing. "Help? A human knows nothing of sacred life. He will only kill it faster." The other guards laughed coldly, their eyes filled with contempt. The human did not flinch. He continued checking Solin's weak heartbeat, placing a strange device on its chest. The screen beside him lit up with pulsing lines. The guards stepped closer, their voices rising. "This is madness, girl. You would shame our people for this weakling." Lyra's hands shook, but she stood tall. "You call it madness, but I call it hope. He is the only one who dares to try." For a moment, the room grew silent. Only the weak sound of Solin's breathing filled the air. The human's brow furrowed as he examined the creature's pale tongue, its trembling wings. His voice cut through the silence. "It's an infection, spreading fast through the lungs." The aliens frowned, not understanding his words. But Lyra felt her chest tighten. "Infected, poisoned, dying. Can you cure it?" she asked in a whisper. The human hesitated, his eyes shifting to the small bottles on his shelf. "I have medicines," he said slowly, "but none are made for your kind. Or for this creature." His voice dropped. "If I try, it may live. Or it may die faster." The guards laughed harshly, their voices echoing through the room. "Do you hear him? He admits he doesn't know." They raised their glowing spears, pointing them at the human. "Step aside, girl. Let us end this false hope before he destroys it completely." Fear stabbed through Lyra. Her knees shook, but she spread her arms wide, standing in front of the human and her pet. "No!" she cried, her voice trembling but strong. "I will not let you touch him. If there is even a single chance, I will take it." The guards froze, stunned by her defiance. Never before had one so young stood against the warriors of her people. The human, still calm, glanced at her, and for the first time, a flicker of respect touched his eyes. Slowly, he pulled a syringe from his shelf, filled with a strange, clear liquid. His voice was quiet, steady. "This might save it," he said, "or it might fail." But I will not stand by and watch it die. Lyra swallowed hard, her chest tight, her heart beating like thunder. She looked down at Solin, her beloved friend, weak and helpless. Her voice broke as she whispered, "Do it, please do it." The guards growled in anger, their weapons humming louder. But Lyra did not move, her body shielding the human as he prepared the injection. The tension in the room was like a storm waiting to break. One wrong move could mean disaster, and yet hope burned brighter than fear. The human lifted the syringe, his steady hands betraying none of the danger around him. Lyra held her breath, her eyes locked on Solin's still chest. The guards stood ready to strike, their anger rising, but in that moment, nothing else mattered. Only one question echoed in Lyra's heart. Would this fragile human truly be the savior her people never believed in? And with that, the needle touched the golden skin of her dying pet. The fate of Solin, and perhaps the bond between two worlds, hung by a thread. Between life and death, the syringe slid into Solin's golden skin, and a drop of clear medicine disappeared into its frail body. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. The room was silent, filled only with the low hum of alien weapons and the faint beep of the human's machine. Lyra's chest tightened, her nails digging into her palms as she whispered a prayer. Then Solin shuddered, its fragile wings twitching once. Its breathing grew shallow, almost stopping. Lyra gasped, fear slicing through her like a blade. The guards laughed cruelly, their voices echoing against the clinic walls. "Look, the beast is dying faster. The human is killing it." One of them raised his spear, stepping forward. "Enough of this foolishness. We end it now." But before he could strike, Lyra spread her arms wide again, standing protectively in front of Solin and the human. Her voice trembled but was fierce. "No, I will not let you touch them, not while hope still lives." The guard snarled, his weapon glowing brighter, but something in her defiance made him pause. It was rare for anyone to defy the warriors, let alone a young girl. Her love for the creature gave her a strength no one expected. Meanwhile, the human leaned closer to Solin, his brow furrowed. He checked the pulsing lines on his glowing screen, then pressed his fingers against the creature's chest. His lips moved quickly as he muttered to himself, words Lyra could not understand, heart slowing. "Infection spreading faster than I thought. Need stronger dose." Lyra's breath caught, her voice a whisper. "Stronger?" "But you said—" He cut her off, his tone sharp but steady. "If I do nothing, it will die. If I act, there's a chance." The room felt colder, heavier. As he reached for another vial, this one glowing faint blue under the light, he filled a second syringe, his hand steady even under the watchful, hostile eyes of the guards. The leader of the guards barked, "This is madness, girl. You trust your sacred beast to an alien who toys with poison?" But Lyra did not move, her violet eyes burning with tears and fire. "You call it poison, I call it hope," she whispered. The human injected the second dose, carefully watching Solin's chest. At first, there was silence, unbearable silence. Then the pet's body jerked violently, its wings striking the table with a weak crack. The screen beside them spiked, the line jumping wildly. Lyra screamed in fear, clutching her hands together. "Please, please don't leave me, Solin." The guards stepped back uneasily now, their mocking smiles fading. The creature looked like it was trapped between life and death, its body shaking, its breathing ragged. For every heartbeat, it seemed like the last. The human's jaw clenched, sweat dripping down his temple as he worked. He placed a mask over Solin's small mouth, attaching it to a tube. The machine beside him hissed softly, pushing air into the creature's lungs. "Breathe," he muttered, his voice steady yet urgent. "Come on, fight, don't give up." Lyra's tears fell freely now, dropping onto her trembling hands. She wanted to hold Solin, to comfort him, but she knew even a touch could disturb the human's work. Her body shook with fear, but in her heart she clung to the only thing she had left, faith in this fragile outsider. Minutes passed like hours. The screen's lines rose and fell in uneven waves. sometimes flat, sometimes spiking. Every dip made Lyra's heart stop. Every rise gave her a flicker of hope. The human reached for a strange tool, pressing it gently. Against Solin's chest, the machine beeped, showing a glowing image of the creature's lungs. He frowned, muttering, "Infection pockets." Spreading faster than expected, his eyes hardened. "I'll need to drain it," the guard shouted in anger. "Drain? He will cut the beast open. This is cruelty, not healing." Lyra turned to them, her voice trembling but unshaken. "You call it cruelty, but you have done nothing but watch him die. He is trying, he is the only one trying." The human prepared another tool, sharp but precise. He looked at Lyra, his eyes calm yet serious. "This will be dangerous, but if I don't do it, the infection will choke him completely." Her throat tightened, her breath trembling. She looked down at Solin, her beloved friend, and whispered, "Do what you must, just save him." The human nodded once, then worked with swift precision. The tool pierced Solin's side gently, and a strange dark fluid began to drain into a container. The smell was harsh, burning Lyra's nose. Her stomach churned, but she did not look away. Every drop drained was another battle won against death. The guards watched in silence now, their arrogance shaken by the human's skill and focus. Even they could not deny that something strange was happening. The beast that should have been dead already still fought, clinging to life under human hands. Finally, after what felt like forever, the beeping on the screen grew steadier. The wild spikes calmed, the shallow breaths deepened. Solin lay still, but its chest rose with more strength than before. Lyra let out a sob of relief, her knees nearly giving way. He's still alive," she whispered. The human wiped sweat from his brow, his face tired but firm. "This is only the beginning," he said. "The infection is strong, it may return, but for now, he has a chance." The guards said nothing. Their weapons lowered slightly. For the first time, doubt flickered in their proud eyes. Lyra looked at the human, her tears shining in the clinic's light. In that moment, he did not look fragile to her at all. He looked like the only warrior who dared to fight death itself. And so the battle for Solin's life continued, balanced on the thin line between life and death. Asterisk, the race against time. The glow of the human's machine filled the small room, its steady beeping echoing like a heartbeat. But for Lyra, each sound was like the ticking of a clock, counting down to the moment she might lose Solin forever. Her golden-furred companion lay still on the table, weak but breathing, its fragile wings twitching slightly. Every rise of its chest was a battle against death, every breath stolen from the void. The human worked quickly, his hands moving with practiced precision. He mixed liquids, crushed powders, and connected thin tubes to the machine. To Lyra, it all looked strange, almost frightening, yet there was something unshakable in his calm. He did not waver, not even once, but the guards were losing their patience. The leader's sharp voice broke the tense silence. "Enough. You gamble with sacred life. Every moment you waste is an insult to our people." His spear hummed louder, filling the air with its deadly vibration. The human ignored him, his eyes fixed only on Solin. He pressed another mask over the creature's face, sending medicine into its lungs. The machine hissed, forcing air inside. Lyra's heart hammered, Solin's body jerked, and for a moment she feared the worst. One guard stepped forward, his voice like a growl. "This is not healing. This is torture. We will end this now." He raised his glowing spear, its tip buzzing with dangerous light. Lyra moved before she even thought, her body a shield, arms spread wide in front of the human and her pet. Her voice cracked but carried the strength of desperation. "No, you will not touch them." The guard's eyes narrowed, his weapon held inches from her chest. "You would stand against your own people for a human?" "Yes," she whispered, her violet eyes burning with tears and fire. "For hope, for life, for Solin." The room went still, the air heavy with tension. Even the human paused for a second, glancing at her with a flicker of something new respect. Then he spoke, his voice calm but firm. If you strike now, the creature dies for certain. If you wait, there's still a chance. His steady tone silenced even the arrogant guards for a moment. Lyra clung to that silence, her breath trembling. Every second mattered now. Every moment stolen from death was precious. The human turned back to Solon, checking the glowing screen. His brow tightened, sweat running down his temple. The infection is fighting back, he muttered. The lungs are closing again. Time is running out. Lyra stepped closer, her voice barely a whisper. What can you do? He did not look up, his hands moving quickly. I need to push harder, stronger medicine. But the dose is risky, too much and his heart may stop. Her breath caught, her knees weak. It was a cruel choice, do nothing and watch Solon fade, or risk everything on a fragile hope. But then she looked at Solon's golden fur, the creature that had been her companion since childhood, the memory of its bright wings lifting her into the skies, its gentle eyes watching over her. Her voice trembled. Do it, please, do it. The human nodded once, no hesitation. He filled another syringe, the liquid inside glowing faintly under the clinic's light. The guards murmured angrily, but none dared step closer now. Even their arrogance was shaken by the girl's courage. The needle slid into Solon's body, and the machine's beeps spiked wildly. The creature trembled violently, its wings beating weakly against the table. Lyra gasped, clutching her hands together, her tears falling freely. Please, Solon, fight, don't leave me. The human pressed his hand gently on the creature's chest, steadying it. His voice was quiet but firm, almost like a command. Breathe. Come on, don't give up. The screen lines danced erratically, rising and falling like a storm. Then suddenly, the line dipped flat for a breathless second. Lyra screamed, No! The guards gasped, stepping back in shock. But the human did not flinch. He pressed a device to Solon's chest, sending a jolt of energy through the small body. The creature's wings snapped open, its chest rising sharply. The screen beeped. Again life had returned. Lyra fell to her knees, sobbing with relief. Her whole body shook, her heart too heavy with fear and gratitude. He's still here, she whispered, her voice broken. He's still fighting. The guards stared, their weapons lowered, their arrogance melting into uneasy silence. For the first time, doubt flickered in their proud eyes. The human exhaled. Slowly, his hands steady, though his face was pale with exhaustion. This isn't over, he said. He's alive now. But the battle is far from won. The room felt different, then not filled with contempt, but with something else. Something fragile, like the first spark of belief. Lyra wiped her tears, her voice soft but unshaken. Then we keep fighting. The human looked at her, and for a brief moment, their eyes held the same fire. Two beings from different worlds, bound by one fragile life and one desperate hope. Outside, the twin moons of Zeora cast their silver glow across the alien city. Inside the small clinic, time still raced forward. And in that race against death, only courage and determination could tip the balance. Asterisk a human's gamble. The small clinic was filled with the sharp scent of medicine and the steady hiss of machines. Yet to Lyra, it felt like standing on the edge of a cliff, one step away from losing everything. Her beloved Solon lay weak, its golden fur damp with sweat, its crystal wings twitching only faintly. The earlier dose had saved it for a moment, but the infection still lurked like a shadow, waiting to strike again. The human vet stood silent for a moment, his eyes fixed on the glowing screen beside the table. Lines pulsed unevenly, sometimes steady, sometimes frighteningly flat. Lyra could see the worry in his face, though he tried to hide it. Finally, he exhaled and spoke, his voice low but certain. We are running out of time. Her breath caught, her body trembling. What do you mean? He turned to her, holding up a vial filled with liquid that shimmered faintly blue under the clinic lights. This is my last option, he said. A stronger dose. A human medicine, meant for creatures much bigger than this one. He looked back at Solon, his jaw tight. If it works, the infection will break. If it fails, his heart will stop. Lyra's knees nearly gave way. Her hands shook as she clutched the edge of the table. A storm raged inside her chest, hope and fear clashing violently. "Then it's a gamble," she whispered. "Yes," the human answered without hesitation. "A gamble for life," the guards scoffed, though their voices were less certain than before. "Listen to him, girl. He admits he does not know. He plays with chance, with death," their leader sneered, though his eyes betrayed unease. "You would trust your sacred beast to luck?" Lyra turned to them, her violet eyes blazing through her tears. "You call it luck, I call it courage. You gave up before even trying, but he—" Her voice broke as she looked back at the human. "He still fights when all of you surrendered." The human prepared the syringe. His hand steady, Lyra stepped closer, her hand trembling as she reached for his arm. Her voice cracked. "Will it hurt him?" The human met her gaze, his eyes tired yet unwavering. "It might, but pain is not the enemy here. Death is. And I won't let him go without a fight." Those words pierced through her fear. She nodded, her tears falling freely. "Then do it. Please do it." The guards shifted uneasily, whispering among themselves. They no longer mocked, no longer laughed. Even they could feel the weight of what was about to happen. The human leaned over Solon, sliding the needle gently into its fragile body. The liquid entered, glowing faintly beneath the golden skin. For a moment, there was silence, an unbearable silence. Then Solon's body convulsed violently, its wings striking the table with a sharp crack. Lyra cried out, dropping to her knees beside the table. Her trembling hands hovered, wanting to touch but afraid to interfere. "Solon, please, hold on." The machine's beeping spiked wildly, the lines dancing in chaotic bursts. Then, without warning, the sound cut off. The screen went flat. "No!" Lyra screamed, her voice shattering in the small room. Her tears poured as she reached for Solon's still body. The guards gasped, some muttering prayers, others shaking their heads. "It is done," one whispered. "The human has failed." But the vet did not stop. His face grim, his movements sharp. He grabbed two small paddles connected to wires, pressing them against Solon's chest. "Not yet," he muttered, his voice like steel. "Not while I still breathe." He pressed the paddles. A spark of energy shot through Solon's small body. The creature's wings jerked open, then fell limp again. The screen remained flat. Lyra's sobs filled the room, her hands clutching Solon's paw. Her heart screamed in silence. "Don't leave me, not like this." The human gritted his teeth, his voice rising. "Come on, fight. You're stronger than this." He shocked the creature again, his arms tense, sweat pouring down his face. Still, the screen was flat. The guards turned away, whispering to each other. "It is over. He has failed. The beast is gone." But Lyra refused to believe. Her voice cracked and raw as she shouted, "No! He will not die, not like this, Solon. You promised you'd never leave me. Fight, please fight." Her desperate cry filled the room like a lightning strike, and then, a faint beep. The screen pulsed once, then again. The flat line broke, replaced by a trembling but steady rhythm. The human froze, his eyes widening in relief. Lyra gasped, her tears now mixed with laughter. "He's back! Solon is back!" The creature's chest rose, slow but strong. Its wings twitched. Not in agony this time, but in life. The impossible had happened. The gamble had been won. The guards stood in silence, their proud faces pale with shock. They could not deny what they had witnessed. The human they mocked had pulled life back from the edge of death. The vet lowered the paddles, his chest heaving. His voice was tired but steady. "He will live. But he's not safe yet. He needs care, rest, time to heal." Lyra collapsed to her knees beside Solon, her tears falling onto its golden fur. Her voice trembled as she whispered, "Thank you. Thank you for coming back to me." She looked up at the human. her eyes shining with gratitude deeper than words. In that moment, he was no longer fragile in her eyes. He was the one who had dared to gamble with death and won. Asterisk, the miracle. The beeping of the machine grew steady, soft but strong. For the first time since the nightmare began, the rhythm of life filled the small clinic. Lyra pressed her trembling hands against her mouth, her eyes wide with tears that sparkled in the glow of the screens. Solon's chest rose and fell, weak but steady. No longer trapped between silence and death, the human stepped back, his shoulders heavy with exhaustion, sweat glistening on his brow. His hands trembled slightly, but his eyes stayed sharp, watching every detail. "He's not safe yet," he said quietly, his voice rough from the strain. "But he is alive." Lyra let out a cry that was part sob, part laughter. She dropped to her knees beside the table, resting her forehead gently against Solon's golden fur. "Alive," she whispered, her tears soaking into the creature's coat. "You're still here with me." Solon's crystal wings twitched softly, as if answering her. The faintest sound, a weak but clear chirp, escaped its throat. Lyra gasped, her whole body trembling. He spoke. He spoke again. Behind her, the guards stood frozen, their weapons lowered completely now, their proud faces pale, their arrogance stripped away by what they had witnessed. One whispered, almost to himself, "It is a miracle." The leader scowled, but even he could not deny the truth. This fragile human had succeeded where their greatest healers had failed. The sacred creature had been snatched from the jaws of death. Not by alien crystals or chance, but by human hands. Lyra turned to the vet, her violet eyes shimmering with gratitude deeper than words. Her voice cracked as she whispered, "You gave him back to me." The human shook his head slowly, his voice quiet. "No. He fought. I only helped him win." Those words struck Lyra's heart, and she realized the truth. This man did not see himself as a savior or a hero. He was simply someone who refused to surrender, someone who fought even when all hope seemed lost. The guards shifted uneasily, no longer mocking, no longer sneering. One of them muttered bitterly, "Our healers said there was no hope." And yet this human. His voice trailed off into silence, as if speaking the rest was too difficult. Lyra stood slowly, her hands still resting on Solon's fur. Her voice was soft but carried through the room. "You see now, don't you? Humans are not weak, they are not useless. They are something else, something different." The human ignored their stares. Turning back to his patient, he adjusted the mask, checked the fluid draining into a container, and carefully cleaned the wound. Every motion was calm, careful, deliberate. This was not chance, not luck. This was skill, knowledge, and determination. Minutes passed, each one steadier than the last. Solon's breathing grew stronger, his wings no longer twitching in pain but resting softly against the table. The color returned to his golden fur, faint but visible, the glow of life slowly returning. Lyra's heart soared with each breath her companion took. She whispered softly, as if afraid to break the fragile moment, "He is coming back to me." Truly coming back. The guards remained silent now. Their earlier scorn turned into shame. They lowered their heads, unwilling to meet Lyra's gaze. For the first time, they bowed not to her, but to the fragile outsider who had done the impossible. Human looked up briefly, his tired eyes meeting theirs. "I didn't do this for pride," he said simply. "I did it because no life should be thrown away without a fight." The words lingered in the air, heavier than any weapon. The guards said nothing because there was nothing left they could say. Lyra moved closer to the human, her voice trembling with raw emotion. "How can I ever thank you?" He shook his head again, his lips curving into the faintest smile. "You already have, by believing when no one else would." Her throat tightened, her tears spilling again, but this time they were tears of relief, of joy. She reached out, gently touching his arm. "That I will never forget." "Never." Solon stirred again, his weak eyes opening, reflecting the silver glow of the moons through the window. His small paw shifted, Brushing lightly against Lyra's hand, she gasped, her voice breaking with happiness. He knows me. He still knows me. The human exhaled slowly, lowering himself into a chair at last, his body heavy with exhaustion. But in his heart, he knew this fight was not just for a creature. It was for something bigger, the bond between two very different worlds. As Lyra cradled Solon gently, whispering soft words of love and comfort, the guards slipped out in silence. Their pride shattered, their certainty shaken. They would carry this story back to their people, and it would spread like fire, that a human had done what no alien could. The clinic was quiet now, filled only with the soft sound of Solon's steady breathing. Lyra looked at the man who had saved everything she loved, and for the first time, she smiled through her tears. "This is not just healing," she whispered. "This is a miracle. The reward beyond gold." The night outside was calm, the twin moons of Zeora bathing the city in silver light. But inside the small human clinic, it was a world reborn. Solon slept peacefully, its golden fur glowing softly, each breath steady, each heartbeat strong. For Lyra, it felt like the end of a nightmare, the kind that vanishes when dawn breaks. She sat close to her beloved companion, her violet eyes never leaving its face. Her hand stroked its wings gently, afraid that if she let go, the miracle might fade. Her chest was heavy with relief, joy, and gratitude so deep it felt endless. The human vet sat a few steps away, his body slouched with exhaustion. His clothes were stained, his hands still trembling slightly from the long battle, yet his eyes stayed fixed on Solon, watching like a guardian unwilling to rest until he was certain. Silence filled the room, broken only by the soft hum of machines and Solon's steady breathing. Then Lyra stood slowly, her steps soft as she walked toward the human. Her voice trembled with emotion. "You gave me back everything I loved." The human shook his head lightly, his voice calm but worn. "No, I only gave him a chance. The rest was his fight, his will to live." Her throat tightened, her heart swelling with gratitude. She had no words strong enough to carry what she felt. Instead, she reached into the folds of her robe, pulling out a small crystal box. The box glowed faintly. Inside it shimmered rare jewels that glowed like stars, treasures worth more than empires. She held it out with both hands, her voice shaking. "These are yours. Take them. Take everything. It is nothing compared to what you gave me." The human looked at the jewels, their glow reflecting in his tired eyes. For a long moment, he said nothing. Then he gently pushed the box back toward her, his voice firm. "I don't want gold or jewels or treasures." Lyra's eyes widened in disbelief. "But you risked everything. You gave so much, why would you refuse?" The human leaned back, his voice soft but steady. "Because life itself is the reward. To see him breathe again, to see hope where there was none, that is enough." His words struck her heart like a beam of light cutting through shadow. No one from her people would have refused such wealth. But this fragile outsider, this human, valued something far greater. Tears filled her eyes again, but this time they were warm, not heavy. She bowed deeply before him, her voice soft but full of promise. "Then I give you something more than riches. My trust, my loyalty, my bond." The human looked at her for a long moment, and though he said nothing, the faintest smile touched his lips. It was not a smile of pride, but of quiet understanding. Outside the door, the guards lingered, silent witnesses to everything. They had come ready to mock, ready to strike, ready to destroy. But what they had seen shattered their certainty. The story of this night would spread through their people like wildfire. The tale of a human who dared to fight death itself. One guard whispered to another. "They said humans were fragile, weak. But now I wonder," the other answered, his voice low with awe. "Perhaps it is not their bodies that make them strong, but their spirit." In the quiet clinic, Solon stirred again, letting out a soft sound as if thanking his savior. Lyra's heart soared, and she pressed her forehead gently against her companion's, whispering, "You will live, we will fly again, I promise." She turned back to the human, her eyes glowing with determination. "From this day, my people will know the truth. We will remember who saved Solon. We will remember what a human can do." The human said nothing, only leaned back in his chair, closing his eyes for the first time since the ordeal began. But in that silence, something unspoken passed between them. Not just gratitude, not just respect, but the beginning of a bond strong enough to bridge two worlds. The moons rose higher, their silver light shining through the clinic window, and in that light, an alien girl, her beloved pet, and a human vet sat together, no longer strangers. No longer divided, but connected by life, by courage, and by something far more precious than gold. And so the story ended not with treasure, not with glory, but with a bond born of love, sacrifice, and the miracle of a life saved.